Welcome to Snacks with Experts. Today's expert is Amanda Silva. She is an expert copywriter and she's the founder of Waypoint Writing. She is amazing. The company that I work for has used her services and talents for quite some time. So we were super excited when she was stepping up to be a speaker for us. We're super happy to have her. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, but you work with all different industries and different types of businesses, and you're really a multifaceted copywriter. Um, and in her spare time, she likes to ride horses when she's not hanging with the kiddos and her family.
Yeah. Being a mom of two Irish twins kind of put horseback riding on the back burner for the foreseeable future, but it's something I used to love to do. But yes, Sam, thank you for the glowing introduction, I should say. And you are right. I work for all sorts of industries, clients of all different scopes and sizes. And that is very much by design. Before I launched my company, I was working for a marketing agency that was devoted strictly to the automotive sector. And so I have written more about the same models of Chevys, Jeeps, Fords, you name it. I'm very happy to diversify my portfolio as much as possible and have clients from all different industries and really flex my research muscles as much as possible. So my general plan for today, this is the first Snacks event that I've hosted, and I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to attend. But basically what I was thinking is I'm just going to go ahead and I have a 12-slide presentation. I'm just going to go through it, slide by slide. If in going through it you have a question or anything is unclear, please stop me. Please ask your questions. I'm happy to answer them in the moment. Otherwise, we'll just get to the end, and then anything that you'd like to discuss at that point, we can go ahead and dive in. Otherwise, I'll kind of throw a few questions to you guys and we'll keep the conversation going that way, and then everyone is free to go. So, yeah.
You just give me a high sign when you're ready to go to the next one.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So, basically, I think any business owner can identify with this very unfortunate reality, myself included. I blog for a living for other clients, and blogging for my own company is the very first thing that falls off the plate because we are, by and large, slaves to our clients, right? Whatever they need, we will get it done. When it comes to our own companies, our own marketing, our own initiatives, it's very, very easy to kind of set things to the side and just sort of think that we'll get to it, and the next thing you know, it's months since you've blogged and you have to try to catch it up real quickly. In some cases with the help of your lovely intern Grace, who helps you get ready for a presentation all about the importance of blogging. So it happens to the ones who are supposedly the most dedicated to this as well. So yes, I really like this Guy Kawasaki quote that ideas are easy, implementation is hard. And I think implementing ideas for ourselves can be the most challenging. So basically, I'm a former school teacher, so it's probably no surprise that I would do a presentation based around these very, very familiar questions: the who, what, when, where, why, and how of blogging for your business. So that's basically how I'm just going to break down this presentation, and then we can take any questions from there. So basically, when you're blogging for your business, it really helps to step outside of your business as much as possible and not think about what you do as much as who you're doing this for and what that audience is looking for, what it is they need. And so understanding your audience, your customer base, is really key to writing an effective blog. This quote, again, I pulled for that very reason: a blog is only as interesting as the interest shown in others. So really, as much as it's one of our own tasks for our own companies and our own, the benefit of our company, it really needs to be, you need to think of it more in terms of what you're doing for your customer base. So obviously, given that, that fact, you really need to spend the time isolating who your ideal target is for a customer, what problems are you trying to solve for them? What problems are they coming to you with? What are they losing sleep at night about? So basically you just need to focus on who they are and then what their problems are and how you might, how your service or product might then go about solving those problems. And from there, you can start to craft basically a personality through your blog where you can educate and inform, and in some cases even kind of entertain this customer base so that you start to develop a relationship with them. You start to become a trusted resource for them, and then hopefully they start coming to you for information that then translates into, again, your product, your service, whatever the case may be. I think this demand metric quote or statistic is really important. 70% of people would rather learn about a company through articles than advertisements. I think people are tired of the tough sell. They don't want to be sold to. They don't want to feel like someone's trying to pull the wool over their eyes. They really, truly just want to know what it is that you can offer. And keeping up with your blog is a great way to establish that authority, but also that level of trust where they will come to you in future. So what counts as valuable blogging content? Again, I love my quotes. The only reason people read your blog is because they want your answers to their questions. That's it. So you just need to keep it as simple as that. What is it about your expertise that you can share with somebody? I tell a lot of my clients, if they're stuck for blogging topics, blogging ideas, just look at your competition. What questions are they answering? What are they finding that's a need in the market as far as education is concerned? If you have a larger company and you have a sales team, speak with them directly and ask them, what questions are you getting in the field? What are people most concerned about? And then just again, circle back to that emotional pain point that your customers have. And from there, you can start to craft some blog topics that would actually be beneficial and provide those answers to the questions that they're coming to your blog for in the first place. This is just a big one. So when and how often should I blog is what I'm asked all the time. And unfortunately, so many of these marketing initiatives and content creation tasks like blogging, it doesn't come down to a single answer. It really does depend on your company, the size of your company, your industry, and what it is that you're ultimately trying to achieve. But the one thing that does count is being consistent. I have clients who blog once a month, every month, and that's what they do. I have others that do 4 blog posts a month. Whatever formula you find that works for you or that someone helps you understand works for you, the key is just to commit to it and keep it consistent. That's really the only hard and fast answer I can give on that one. So rather than look at your competitor or look at other people or read an article where they say you need to be blogging 3 times a week, maybe you don't. Maybe you really don't. Maybe once or twice a month gets at it for you. So okay. Where will I find content ideas for my blog? I feel like I have two populations of clients. They either have a million ideas, and that implementation piece that Guy Kawasaki mentions at the beginning is where they get tripped up. And then I have a lot of clients who really they have no idea what to blog about, or in some cases, they've been blogging for so long and have committed to a really effective blogging calendar about their industry, about their business, that they have now they feel as though they've exhausted whatever else they have to talk about. In those cases, it's always great to get a fresh set of eyes and just brainstorm with someone even outside of your industry. But really, there is no shortage of content ideas. So there are different things that you can do where even if you feel like you've answered the same question over and over again, or you've had the same discussions over and over again, doing something with your blog where even just formatting something differently, like a listicle. List articles are great. They're quick reads. They give people those answers if they want quickly. And it's a way to kind of recast an answer that you might have already given in the past. So, it's just as as we're discussing right now, top 5 questions clients ask about your business. That's a way of discussing more about your business, more about what you do, but doing it in kind of a roundabout way where you can get the information across, and do it in a format that looks really pleasing to the eye. It's easy to read, and it just gives someone something else to think about when it comes to your company and your service. Okay. This is another one that I'm asked often, why bother, right? I mean, especially if you haven't been blogging, if you haven't been keeping up with the blog, if you've never done a blog for your business, and your business is doing well, then what's the point? Why worry about blogging at all? You can't, no one can make you do something that you don't believe in or that you don't want to do, certainly, but the current research out there does show that blogging is very important to your business, and it actually provides you with more value than I think is immediately clear. It's not just about the blog post, it's really what you can also then do with it. We'll get to that in a minute. But these statistics alone pretty much speak for themselves. Companies with blogs produce an average of 67% more leads monthly than companies that don't blog. I would argue that then marketers who prioritize blogging receive 13 times more return on investment than companies that did not in 2019. Again, it's the same, it's just the same theme over and over again, right? It's just that they're more engaged, they're out there, they're connecting with their audience, and every opportunity you have to do that, as really just provides benefit to your company and to what you're ultimately trying to achieve. So this next slide speaks to what I was talking about, content begets content. You don't just write a blog post and leave it at that. That really is kind of a colossal waste of time, right? If you just write a blog post and put it up there and hope someone finds it, hopes that, that someone finds it useful, you're sort of missing the opportunity to really put it in front of people. And doing that, via social media posts, LinkedIn, again, this sort of speaks to market research and the knowledge about your own audience. I mean, where does your audience live? If they're on Facebook, it's real easy to excerpt, a really pertinent statistic or fact from your blog post and put up a cool graphic with it, and then have the CTA driving people back to the blog, back to the website. If it's LinkedIn, if you have a really great LinkedIn presence, you can always put excerpts up from your blog post. And again, that drives your audience back to your website. You have more of that increase of traffic. And ultimately, the goal of any blog post is to get your visitor to do something, whether it's to schedule a call with you, get on your calendar. And again, if you're a product-based industry, then to make a purchase. So really, the very idea of creating a blog post, it's more than just the post. You can do so much more with it. Okay, so how can I generate ideas from my business blog? Ultimately, again, this kind of ties back to our earlier slides. Being an active listener when it comes to your clients and also your colleagues, the people that you work with, what you do every day, that really is where you're going to get the majority of your ideas. And I think it's important to say that even though your blog should help establish you as an authority in your industry or a trusted voice in your industry, it's absolutely fine, and I think appreciated by visitors and people to your website and your blog if you share some really honest failures or setbacks or challenges, regarding your business. You can use your blog to highlight, testimonials and the success stories, but I think also any behind the scenes, real, like in the trenches kind of moments that you want to share and blog about. A lot of times those provide opportunities to, invite conversation from other people in your field. Has anyone else experienced this? How did you overcome it? So really, it's just looking at the larger world that you're working in all the time that can really help you come up with plenty of ideas for your blog. So it's your audience and it's your staff and your colleagues and everyone all kind of in it together that should be able to provide you with enough inspiration to come up with some ideas that would answer your clients' concerns and also represent your business and your brand the way you want it to. So this is all fine and good, but blogging is at the end of the day challenging, as I say, even for those of us who do it professionally. So unfortunately, the competition for blog posts and blogging in general is fierce. 52% of bloggers say it's getting harder to engage with readers through their content. People admit to skimming blog posts. You're not necessarily getting people there for a significant length of time. And so that really speaks to having unique and engaging and creative content that does answer a problem, provide a solution, and somehow keeps people, engaged long enough to take that action. So, we can discuss a little bit further with everyone, some other challenges that you've either experienced or heard about. Part of the challenge right now is, video. I mean, everyone, knows the expression that content is king, and really right now, specifically, it's video that's king. So people would rather watch something more often than not than they would, sit and read through a blog post of any length. So that's something right now that the bloggers are definitely up against. And there are ways to marry the two, so it's not hopeless, but that is certainly a challenge right now. So this is a very short presentation, again, just an overview of why blogging does matter to businesses, why it is something that you should, invest in. And, this quote from David Scott is just one that I think kind of speaks volumes to the whole value of blogging. You can buy attention, that's advertising. You can beg for attention from the media, that's PR. You can bug people one at a time to get attention via sales, or you can earn attention by creating something interesting and valuable and then publishing it online for free. The whole point of all of us as business owners is to provide answers to problems, provide solutions, and blogging can certainly help you deliver on that promise because you are establishing yourself as an authority, as a trusted resource, and basically, creating your identity as someone who people will develop that kind of relationship with. They'll come back to you for information, and then eventually, hopefully, they will come back to you as a client or a customer. Mm-hmm. That's the goal. So on that note, I would love to take questions from anybody.
John put one in the chat.
Okay.
That's really good. He said, what about vlogs? Can you speak to that a little bit?
So that is kind of the way, that's where I see, the written blog and the video as king right now, kind of marrying together. I think if you can do a vlog and have the written content, because people are still going to want that written component, offering both, I think, is the best way to just try to satisfy people looking for either media, but also to really kind of stick with the trend of vlogging being,
well, it answers that skimming question too a little bit, but having, of course, we know the written word is so important for other aspects of the funnel because it helps with your Google and SEO search. Exactly. So marrying the two is what you're saying.
Yes. Probably if you can marry the two for that reader or that viewer experience. And I think too, it's good, so often like people have podcasts going in the background, it could be the same thing with a vlog. Like they're listening to it while they're doing other things, but then again, having that written component where you can go back, and especially if you're doing research for something, you have to excerpt something out. I think having both just kind of checks all the boxes. So.
And I've used a site called rev.com to basically transcribe my videos in the past, which has made it really easy for me to do blogging and vlogging at the same time as well. So.
Right.
And it also answers that tip that you had given about reusing the content as social posts to drive the funnel back to the actual blog, to your site for the harder call to action. Right. Yep.
And sometimes I think it's just when you maybe are able to speak something better, and then then it becomes, when you transcribe it, it just becomes more natural when you're doing your marketing, right? It just becomes more easy for somebody to sort of understand. And so you kind of get the best of both worlds at that point.
Absolutely. And with, with blogs in general, people are looking for that more conversational tone and approach. So I think with blogging, it lends itself to that naturally. And then as you say, Chris, you have like, two different ways of getting that across for whatever the audience prefers in that moment.
You mentioned list posts, which as I'm planning things, my mind goes, oh, that's a good one, because that's like an easy one to throw in there.
Yeah.
For the more difficult ones, like storytelling is a great opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So mixing in some of the maybe more, not lengthy necessarily, but more work and in the writing department. Can you talk a little bit about what you would need to think about if you're talking about telling a story where maybe ultimately your client could identify with the problem that this person's having and how you solved it for them? What are you looking for when you're writing something that's more meaty like that?
More meaty like that. I think, again, it speaks to the skimming and everything. You want to get the information across. And so I think this is where the design and the format of your blog post really comes into play. Having the headings, the subheadings, breaking out, excerpts of whether it's testimonials, you say, success story that you're trying to share, statistics, facts, whatever, anything that you can break out and give all of that kind of like breathing room to the page. I think in this day and age, especially anything that's very lengthy and looks very lengthy and it looks like there's no break, is hard for people to stick with. So as far as like how you would actually like format that,
that was a great answer to it, actually. Very helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, blogs are very visual at the end of the day. So the images, as I say, the headings, the spacing, all of that is really key.
Yep. I thought one of your tips was really helpful too, of reuse of content. Just because you've written something about something once doesn't mean you can't go back to your archives and look and say, is there a different way I could answer this, or another way to present the same pain point in another way? We all know, right, as either parents or teachers or members of a team at work, not everybody hears the same information the same way.
Right.
And it relieves a little stress from us for content ideas.
Right. And I mean, there is that marketing adage, right? Like it's 7 touch points before a customer actually really hears you. Here's what it is you have to offer. Here's what it is that you're trying to say. And so, going back through your blog roll and re-answering some of those questions in a different way. And then of course, the back end beauty of that, is linking back to those posts. And that's a great SEO thing to do with the content that you already have that exists. It's really a good way to kind of keep things fresh, even when if you feel like they're not very fresh for you in your industry at the moment. And then certainly a single blog post could get you, depending on its length, could get you anywhere from 5 to 10 social posts, depending on the subject and how much data you have in there. And it doesn't need to be hard data either. It can be quotes and just information that supports whatever message you're trying to share.
And back to John's point, that's another great reuse of stuff too, is you've written a blog post about it, now do a blog 6 months later.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Or even do like a blog about your the 3 blogs that did the best on your website.
There you go.
Showcase some of your highlights, highlight reel kind of thing.
What do you do for like an editorial process? Do you have anyone else put ads on your thing?
So yes, it's strange, and to be a writer and also to be an editor, I'm keenly aware of the fact that none of us are great editors of our own work. So I embrace that, I hold on to it, and I am very quick to get a second set of eyes whenever possible.
All right, come on, anybody else?
I'm thinking, because what you just said, it kind of ties in with what I was thinking about, is the fact that anything that I post has to be edited, so to speak. I mean, like if I came up with, and I don't have one in front of me, but I came up with a bookmark that's basically the same information that's on my my business card, except I added my picture, which has already been approved by the company, but they had to approve of the wording of the bookmark. I mean, it's almost silly, but I mean, there's a good reason for it being the financial industry, but I have to be very careful. So I'd say I'm getting more out of this in terms of what I can recommend to other people because I know what you guys do and so forth, but I don't know that it's something that I could really do a blog. I'd love to because I love to write and stuff, but I can't just do it and have everything approved every time that I want to post something else,
Mm-hmm.
So as far as editing, I mean, in my case, it wouldn't really work, but there's plenty of other, and there's companies out there that wouldn't think that they would use this kind of a format, like a landscaper, for example. There's probably not a lot of landscapers that do blogging, but there's all kinds of subjects that they could talk about, like how to identify poison ivy, for example. And then when people start reading stuff like that, they're like, you know what? I'm just going to call the landscaper instead of trying to deal with this myself.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah, that is the point. And you bring up another good point, which is that certain industries are certainly more difficult to create content for than others because of regulations, because of compliance issues and things like that. So, that's why, when I started this, I said it really depends on your industry as far as like how easy some of these things can be to implement, because most of us don't have a ton of hoops to jump through, but certain industries, certainly might, and that can delay progress and make consistent work kind of difficult. So, yeah.
I have a question. What do you think about guest bloggers? If you have a blog, and do you see them as an asset, or are they just kind of a distraction? Do they provide a lot of benefit? Because it can take a lot of work sourcing who you want to guest blog and then kind of going over everything to make sure it fits within your standards.
Right. So I think that guest bloggers are valuable, depending on who they are and what they can really offer your brand, depending on how well they can, as you say, sort of fit in with what it is that you're looking for, your expectations. I don't think the emails that I get multiple times a day, people randomly asking to, we found your website, we found your blog, I'd love to guest blog for you, and it's always an exchange for something, right? Like, that's no good. Stay away from that. But certainly if you have like an industry, some kind of expert or someone in the community, just anything that would just naturally make sense. And again, it always comes back to what your audience would appreciate or would be beneficial to them. Then I think it's great and it's refreshing to have a guest blogger, and to introduce them as such, on the blog is a good thing to do. I think it shows that you're engaged with the community. I am just here to help.
I thought Chris was going to say something to me
there. No, do we keep cutting Chris?
Yeah, it's my fault. Sorry. My internet here is not great. That's why I'm not on video. All I was going to say, John, was one of the things that we've done for people in financial industry is like help them sort of come up with like a 3 to 6 month sort of calendar of ideas and submit all of that at one time. And that way you're not sort of going back and forth with compliance when it comes to that. And then also you can even just send them sort of like, here's all the ideas of what I want to do for blogs first. That way you're not sort of writing all that content and then not having it approved. And like, so you can kind of red flag things early at that point. So I was just going to.
Yep. Good point. So the one note that I wrote down was 70% of people would rather learn from articles and advertisements. Have you ever heard of Fiddlehead? It's like a free magazine. You can pick it up like where they have the hippo usually. Well, that whole thing is all advertisements, but they're disguised as articles.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you knew about that or not, but.
Yep. But I mean, people are more, I think they're more patient and more apt to read a story or something about someone's business more than, sales pitch kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's what is it, New Hampshire Chronicle. A lot of the businesses you see on there, they actually pay to advertise by, being showcased on there. It's not just WMER like promoting them for free.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are some other ways that we could pick your brain? Like today was a limited time frame, yeah. Right? Like everybody's gonna finish their day and log off and go home or go to soccer practice or, carpool a kid or have a networking event or something. What are some other ways that people can be in touch? Maybe you could be a guest blogger for them, or maybe, sit and learn more or continue this discussion in another format similar to this.
Yes. Well, first of all, everyone can more than welcome to reach out to me anytime. My email address, which I think has already probably gone around. And we're also going to be hosting another event here in, I don't think we've quite pinpointed the, have we
October.
We have pinpointed the date. Okay, excellent.
Let me pull it up.
Thank you.
You keep talking. I'll let her
know. But no, so the workshop that we're going to be doing here at Spark offices is going to be more hands-on, and the plan, the takeaway is for everyone who attends to come up with their content calendar, their blogging calendar for the upcoming year. So basically we're looking to have everyone leave with 12 months worth of content ideas set, ready to go. And then, certainly I'm on hand for any assistance or help with, whether it's creating it or reading over it or helping with some strategy. That's the next thing I'll be hosting.
So we currently on the calendar for a 2-day event, 2 mornings, the Tuesday the 12th and Wednesday the 13th of October.
Great. Okay.
So everybody will get an email with contact information for Amanda. We'll include the dates for the event as well, and that way you can reach out to Amanda privately if you would like to do so. Look for that probably in your inbox tomorrow. Great. Thank you very much for being with us today, Amanda. It is super duper helpful and really relaxed, but yet so informative. So thank you very much for giving us a snippet of your expertise. We appreciate it.
Happy to. Thank everyone for
Thanks everybody for being here. I so appreciate it. And join us for our next Snacks with an Expert. We'll make sure you get an invite.